a second and I thought about it. And then I could feel like this sickness overcome me, and like you want to like throw up. And I'm like, oh no. And then, so then you start going, how can I fix it? How can I fix it? What can I do? And then you realize that at a certain point, there is no fixing this. The only fixing it is to re-pull the wire. Because what we did, and a lot of you guys will understand this, is we ran the conduit. Well, we ran the line side in the bottom and the load side in the top. So the wire should have done this. And I didn't do that. And there's no fixing that. The only repair is to re-pull the wire. Or splice it, but we're not going to do that. Anyway, my journeyman's gone. It's the end of the day. It's a Friday. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I close it up and I go home and I don't sleep all weekend. And I sit there and I bite my fingernails off. And I don't know what I'm going to do. And Monday morning I go into the shop and I sit down with my boss at the time, who looked like a silverback gorilla. And I'm 19, 20-year-old kid. And I sit down with him and I'm getting fired. That's like, I had sat all weekend like, I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired on Monday, getting fired. And I sat down with him and I'm like, this guy's going to kill me. And I told him what happened. And he goes, okay, so now what? And he says to me, and this is a guy that, very, very rough around the edges guy, but he said something and it stuck with me, 30 years later. He said, the only people that don't make mistakes are the people that don't do anything. Just in the course of working, you're going to screw stuff up. But you know what? If you learn from it, if you try to get a little bit better, try not to make that mistake again, try to teach the people around you why you don't want to do that, then why would you punish that? Why would you punish that? You just learned. You just went to college for it. So, I mean, that was a big learning experience for me right off the bat. Minimize interruptions, but quickly reply. So I put my phone over there because even if it vibrates in my back pocket, I'll lose my train of thought. I put it on Do Not Disturb. I stuck it over there because I don't want to think about it, because if my phone would vibrate in my back pocket, even if it's some stupid email from Amazon, I will lose my train of thought. I will stop. It'll take me a second to get back on track again. So be thinking about that, like when you're working, try to get in the flow and don't lose your flow. However, if somebody does respond to you, if somebody does need something from you, make sure you're setting aside time. Don't ghost them, don't leave them ignored all day. Make sure you're responding and following up and closing that loop with people. Clean, neat, organized. Clean, neat, and organized. So again, you should be proud of your work area. You should be proud of the work you're doing. You should be proud of your job site. It should look good. It should look clean, neat, and organized. And again, these aren't core value, guys. These are things that we need to work towards, and I think we can all agree that there's some work to be done there. I mean, I'll get in line on that one too, but it's a big thing. It's that low-hanging fruit. If you are a customer who just paid a whole bunch of money to have a job done, you don't really know what you're looking at from an electrical standpoint because you don't really understand, but what you do know is what organized and clean looks like. And so that's where they like to go a lot of times. So if we can give them that goes a long ways. By the way, you guys have a big tour coming up down in Kansas on Tuesday. Speaking of clean, neat, and organized, Eric. I found out who it is too. You can ask me later, I'll tell you. It's a big one. You all know where they are. Flame broiled or something like that, but don't say anything. I didn't give anything else away other than that, but it's a big deal for you all down there. Think ahead. Try to plan. Try to plan ahead. You can never really be perfect. You can never be perfect because, again, going back, it's life. Life happens. Things fall apart. Things don't go the way we want them to go. Another little saying. I feel like I'm filling this up with these little sayings. Abraham Lincoln. Kyle, what did Abraham Lincoln say? All kinds of good stuff, though, didn't he? I mean, you were there, right? Yeah. Abraham Lincoln said, if you gave me 3 hours to cut down a tree, I would spend 2 hours sharpening my axe. Okay? And a lot of times we all like to run to the fire and we just jump in and we just go, and then we get buried and we got grease up here and we're covered in dirt and we go, oh, crap. You know what I like to do, like if we buy like a grill or something like that, is I like to see if I can put it together without the instructions. Don't ever do that. It's a terrible idea. Because you get like 3 hours into it and then you forget one bolt and you got to take it all apart and start over again. Don't ever do that. But think ahead, plan ahead. Sias would appreciate that as well, wouldn't you, Joe? Details, pay the bills. This is kind of like clean, neat, and organized. When the job is done, it should be done. The job, if you say the job is done, it should be done. The label should be on, the cover should be on, the fingerprints should be off, you know, everything should be done. Like when I think about that, I think of if I went down to Knepfler and bought a new truck today, and I got in and I drove it off the lot, and I turned on the radio and the radio didn't work, would I be happy? No. It's just a little deal, but dude, I just paid $80,000 for a brand new truck. The radio better work. These customers are spending a lot more than that on some of the jobs we do for them. They shouldn't have to worry about, oh, this dial, why is this cover missing? Why is this bolt not on there? We should be giving them a finished product. So details pay the bills. Again, going back to what I said, the customers don't understand the intricacies of all what we do, but they see that there's a cover missing. You know, they see there's a bolt that should be there and it's not there. They see that this should be tight and it's not tight. They know that stuff, so don't give them that. Give a wow experience. And you know, that goes back again to what I said from what we're trying to do with our vision, our mission statement of we want to attract those customers. Well, do something that they're not used to seeing, and it could be something little. It could be not a big deal. It's not what you're thinking about, Mitch, but it could be something nice of just like, wow, they use brooms at Trinity Electric? Holy cow. Because I think you all know what we're known for, and that's not for using brooms. I saw a thing the other night where the guy, he taped a Klein side to the broom to get the electrician to actually use the broom and sweep. They caught it though, they figured it out and shot that one down right away. Humble confidence. So nobody likes arrogant know-it-alls. So that's why I try not to say very much because I tend to come off that way sometimes, I think. Right? Yeah, there you go. Anybody ever seen John Wick, that show, John Wick? Yeah? Or like an old John Wayne movie or something like that? That's who I picture when I think about this. Like you got it, right? But you don't need to tell everybody you got it. The opposite would be like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. You know, I could throw a football over the mountains if the coach would have put me in. Well, if you were that good, the coach would have put you in, dude. Knock it off. So what I love is that you got it, but you don't need to go telling everybody that you got it. But everybody knows you got it, and everybody knows when the fire's on, you know who you're going to call because you know who's got it. And it goes, again, just like with the listen to learn, you don't, even somebody who's first day on the job, you can learn something from them. Even if you are that John Wick or John Wayne, you can still learn something from that person. Shoot, I have my 17-year-old daughter. I can't figure out something with my phone. I'm like, here you go. Jim knows what I mean. Oh, yeah. Do what you say you'll do. You know, that's funny because this actually came up. The reason I was late, I was at a meeting with the owners of Empirical about a lot of the work that we got coming up, and we got a lot coming up out there. It's going to be a good deal that we'll get into a little bit in a minute. But he said, one of the most important things that I'm going to be looking for is that everybody does what they say that they're going to do. All of you. Because I was in there with all the owners of all the companies and all the maintenance leads and all the production leaders with the owner. And he actually said this exact thing. He said, I just want people to do what they say they're going to do. And I'm like, hey, I know that one. I got that one. But it's just such a big deal. Like if I say, hey, can you check this out for me? Then I want to be able to just know that it's getting handled. I don't want to have to come back and say, hey, did you get that checked out for me? And you go, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Because now what does that do? It's like, well, next time I'm going to ask you. And I know I'll probably get the same result because you're brothers, but find solutions, not faults. Just like, you know, assume good intent. But same thing, like, hey, this isn't going to work, but persistent, find a way, figure it out. Well, there's always a way. I used to love when people would come up to me. Paulie used to do it all the time, Mitch, and he stopped doing it after a while because I used to have so much fun with it because he would always be like, oh, it's not going to work. And then he got to the point where he would not do it anymore because every time it was like I would make that a challenge. Like, okay, let's go find out how it's not going to work. So it can be a bit frustrating sometimes when you are working with somebody who doesn't have that sense of persistence, a sense of there's a way. You know, there's a way. We just got to talk through it. We got to figure it out. Find solutions, not faults. Also, when something goes wrong, the other meaning behind that is when something goes wrong, we don't always have to be pointing our fingers and blaming people when something goes wrong. Because every one of you, including myself, when something goes wrong on a job site, we all own part of it. We all own part of it. You can say, well, this guy didn't, he never comes to work on time. Well, you're his foreman. What are you doing about it? You own part of that. So we all own part of all of it. So we all should be looking at what we can do differently versus just pointing our finger at people. Expectations set, understood, agreed upon, and met. There's so many times where you're like, hey, I need you to do this, and then you walk away, and then you come back, and it's like, that's not what I said. Well, there's two things that could have happened there. Number one, the person wasn't listening to you. Number two, which I found is actually more common, is they just didn't understand what you said because you guys aren't speaking the same language. Because they thought they knew what you meant, but they didn't understand. And what I like to do in that situation is what we call the McDonald's method of communication, which is, can I take your order? Yeah, I'll take a Big Mac, fries, and a large Diet Coke. And they say, all right, I heard you say Big Mac, fries, large Diet Coke. Is that correct? And I say, yep. And they say, okay, your total is, with food these days, $47.52. Please pull up to the second window. The reason they do that is to eliminate that. No, that's not what I said. I said this. Oh, okay. Now is everything on your screen correct? Yes. That's how I would like us as a team to communicate with each other, especially foremen and journeymen when you're dealing with people who haven't done something before. Here's what I'd like you to do. Okay, now what did I just ask you to do? Okay, that's not exactly what I said. This is what I said. Okay, got it. All right, perfect. I'll be back in a little bit to check on you. When you just say and assume something, a lot of times people just do what they think they heard, but they didn't really hear what you said. All right, so that was all 13. Wow. Did I get through that all right? Okay. Any questions? Nate, any questions? Anything you don't agree with there? All right. Because we can make adjustments here if you want to. That's weird. Oh, there we go. So 2025 project review, Garden City Empirical. Uh-oh, lost connection, trying to reconnect.
I don't want to hear my name whispered.
How are we doing on time? Okay, we're good, we're good.
I can make it work.
You know what, we'll just skip to the next job until we get those guys back on. Wayne Schools, biggest bid commercial job we've ever done in the history of the company. We got it done. I think we learned a lot. I think a lot of things went good. A lot of things were challenging. Jim, would you like to give a little summary on all that job and how it went and the guys who worked on it?
The guys that worked on it did awesome. And there was a lot of challenges because of the general. Nothing's their fault. But we made it.
Yeah. Drew, did you learn anything working out there?
Yeah, fire alarm.
Yeah? So you're our fire alarm guru now? I think we're going to start a fire alarm division. We're going to put your face up there on the website too. But I need you to grow the mullet back first. We're not doing it without a mullet. So I learned a lot from that job. The one thing that I took away from that is the difference between a dollars and cents type job versus a relationship type job. And there was just a lot of, I'm not going to say it wasn't successful. Did it go the way we wanted it to? Probably not exactly. I think everybody would agree with me on that. But we took a lot away from it. We learned a lot from it. But at the end of it, there wasn't necessarily that, hey, let's do the next one, let's do the next one, let's do the next one. It was just a transaction. It didn't really feel personal throughout the whole thing. And a lot of Jim's right, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of lack of blame taking, a lot of blaming other people on stuff, and it just, I think it's just the type of job that it was. It was a high pressure, high schedule, a lot of money, a lot at stake. And so, at the end of the day, we got it done. We learned a lot. It was a lot to take on with everything else we had going on, especially that job down in Kansas. Richardson really blew up this year. We did a lot of work with Richardson. Jim, Hunter, Drew, Orlando worked on it quite a bit. And of course, Mitch, who holds down the fort out there. We're just wrapping up. I think that job went very, very well. A lot of good things said from the customer about that. Mitch, do you have anything you want to add there?
Richardson as a whole is very happy with us as a company. They very much value our relationship, the fact that we're willing to
No, Mitch does a great job out there. We got a lot. There's a very bright future there. South Sioux City, Empirical, always that's the steady Eddie. I know that's probably not what it feels like on a day-to-day basis for you guys that are out there, but it's just something we can always count on. It's always been there. It's how we got our start. It's how we're going to continue to grow. It's just a great account to have. Trevor's been running the show out there for us while a lot of other people have been down in Kansas, been doing a great job out there. A lot of you guys are working there right now. I can tell you it's going to get really busy. There's 81 jobs they're going to try to get done this year of different various sizes. We're trying to get some organization going on them right now, so be patient while we get traction on that. But that's why I was late this morning. It's going to get really, really busy out there, which when you look at the economy in a whole is a really good thing for us. Trevor's done a great job. Trevor, anything there on that?
No, I just want to thank everybody for working hard and Andrew for helping me out and holding the fort with the run. So.
Yeah, who could forget Andrew? Of course. Yeah, absolutely. All right, circle back to Garden City Empirical now that they're back on, hopefully. Hey, Dwight, thumbs up? All right, he got it. Okay, he can hear me. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just been a monster. And I think almost everybody in this room has been down there at one time or another. It's just been a monster. It's running. It's working. All in all, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, there were things that didn't go well, as there will be on any job. But the customer is ecstatic with the fact that, not the fact that it took 5 years to get it done, but the fact that once we said it was done, they were running within a month. I mean, they had the bugs worked out and it was running within a month. When you think about how many wires that we pulled out there and these guys had that thing running within a month, that is just amazing to those guys that are down there working and all of you that have gone down there and helped. It has been a really, really huge sacrifice for us as a company as a whole, and I know for myself personally, but also extremely rewarding to be able to say that we did something like that. So I want to thank everybody in the company that was involved in that. You all owe yourselves a round of applause. I got a clicker, but I can't do it. But, hey, great job on that, guys. And that is going to continue to grow and grow down there. They have 1 RPF down there right now. The plan is to have 3 once they get up and running and they gain more customers, more sales. The other part of that is there'll be another freezer down there, just like we have in South Sioux. I mean, there's a really bright future down there. It's going to be a good bright spot in the company for years and years to come. Some other jobs that we've done, we did Hunter and Mitch did a premium Iowa pork project over Thanksgiving. They gave up their Thanksgiving to work, and it went really, really well. Again, same thing. Customers happy. We're going to continue to go after that. That's up in Hospers. Train Nate Dog. Nate has he's really grown that and maintained that into a great account. And it's going to get us into more and more different things in different areas, which we'll get into here in a second. But I was on the phone with them yesterday, and they just love us. They want to keep giving us more and more work. And so I just want to thank Nate for that and everybody else that's helped Nate along with it.
I've talked to them. They absolutely love everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
Really, it's not me, it's somebody else.
Yeah. And it's great working. It's a great way to get your foot in the door with other stuff too. Because he's working at one of the biggest jobs up in Sioux Falls right now at the Avera Women's and Children's Hospital. And we're working alongside Thompson up there, but like I said, we're building those relationships and getting our foot in the door in more and more places. Empirical Corporate, Orlando. Where's he? There he is. How's it going out there?
It's going good. I mean, I'm excited for how it's going to look, especially here at my first job. So,
Yeah.
hey, helping me. If you get my helping me, hopefully I learn a lot off of it.
Yeah.
On what not to do and what I can work on and what I can do well. And so, I'm excited for it.
Well, now that you're, by the way, officially a journeyman, look at that, he got it this week. Big dog. Do you feel really smart now?
No, I feel dumb.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. By the way, Chrissy needs to get a picture of you before you leave today.
She already did.
Oh, she already did it? All right. Is it all over the place? Did we get the right person? That was my next thing. Did we get the right Andrew? Andrew will let us know if we got the wrong person. So no, yeah, that's a great experience, and yeah, Orlando is officially a journeyman now, so really happy about all that. Okay, 2020. Oh, wait, I skipped it. Oh, well, yeah, there we go. All right, organizational structure today. Our organizational structure today, when I talk about organizational structure, it's, owner, president, CEO, CFO, project manager, estimator, BIM, development, foreman, journeyman, apprentice, all this stuff, right? So our organizational structure today looks like a big plate of spaghetti, I would say would probably be the best way to say it. Just everybody's just trying to do everything, and we're fighting a lot of fires right now. And we're getting it done, and I'm really proud and really thankful and really happy for everybody that's helped out. But it's not conducive to growth, it's conducive to firefighting. And we're getting it done, but we've got to get straightened out and get back into that organizational, like I started back at the beginning, of just getting everything stabilized, consistent, so we can get back on track with growing again. Because we've grown so fast and got split so thin with the Kansas and everything else. So trying to get that chaos gone and trying to smooth things out. So I've been trying to smooth that out as best I can for you guys, and I know, and again, I can't thank everybody enough for bearing with me through that. So moving forward, we're going to have clear ownership, defined roles, a scalable structure, and we're going to try to reduce bottlenecks. For example, we don't need to go through me for every single answer moving forward. So trying to get things more clarified, more clean, more simple, less stressful for everybody involved, trying to speed up the communication chain back and forth. And making it scalable so there's growth potential for everybody in the company that wants to grow. So 2026, market conditions are tight. If you haven't looked out there, things are slow in the construction world. It's a temporary drawback. It's going to pick back up again, nothing to worry about. If you look at it from a macro scale, like I said, it's going to keep growing and growing. But right now, with a lot of the stuff that's going on, and I don't like getting into politics, people are scared to spend money. So it's a little bit tight right now. We're keeping everybody busy. We're figuring it out. Opportunity is out there, but we got to be careful about it. Because again, going back and saying if we're going to bid work that's competitively bid, everybody's in the same boat, so people are bidding work at basically zero margin, just trying to keep their people busy, which is fine, but when you do that, it leaves zero room for error, and it means you got to be running your jobs just flawlessly. Because one little problem is 10 times worse because you have no room to make a mistake. Did we lose them again, Sias?
I can't see that.
No, they're there. So we just got to be strategic and careful about what we take on. So we feel confident with Garden City Empirical. Like I said, we feel good with South Sioux. Richardson's going to hold steady. Probably not as busy as last year, but going to hold steady. Train's going to pick up. I know that from phone calls I had yesterday. And we got a lot of accounts that we haven't been focused on because of the fact that we've been so busy with mainly Kansas and with the Wayne School and things like that, that I've already been starting to go touch base with and get opened up. And we're expecting those to take back off again, a lot of them, maybe not all of them. But a lot of them, they've been happy to hear from us, and they're going to start giving us work again. So some of those will pick back up again. We got to make sure, like I said, if we're going to be doing the competitively bid projects, that we're being careful because there's no room. There's no room for mistakes right now. If we bid something, we're basically bidding it at cost or slightly above, which it means everybody's got to be on their A game at all times, which I know you guys already are. And then, of course, overcommitting. This is something we've always struggled with, and where I started this whole talk from is we don't want to go out and say we can take on this $10 million job if we don't have the manpower to do it. We've got to be careful that we're staying within. We're putting what we put on our plate we can actually eat. We're not going out and overdoing it, overpromising, under-delivering. We always want to under-promise, over-deliver. And then from an operational standpoint, do we have the processes, procedures, policies in place to hold growth? The chaos, I would say, has lessened, but part of that is because we haven't been all over the place in 5 million different directions at once. We've basically down to like 4 or 5 different jobs. So the chaos isn't there so much. Don't ask Nate that. He would violently disagree with me, because he's the one guy that I've got that just he's like like Frogger. Remember the game Frogger? That's like Nate right now. He got ran over by a bus the other day, but he's back at her again. So Yeah, making sure we've got the systems in place, the structure in place to handle as we get busier, you know, deliveries and stuff like that, right? New opportunities, things we're going to start digging into more is the UL industrial panel building. There's some big opportunities out there that we're going to get into as far as getting back into panel building, because we do have that certification, which we're going to have to dig the cobwebs off and figure out. Specialty systems, what do I mean by specialty systems? What I mean by specialty systems is another way to get your foot in the door is the FLIR heat sensing camera scanning, the ground testing systems that we've got. There's a lot of stuff out there that a lot of industrial plants need for PM systems, and then what that does, it opens the door up for us to get more work through, like, hey, we got a lot of hot spots in your switchgear, we'll come in there and fix it for you. That kind of stuff. So we're going to start getting into that. Other geographical areas, which I've already alluded to a little bit, we're going to start getting into looking at other geographical areas. So again, as work slows down, it means that we're going to have to stretch a little bit. And what that looks like, you know, obviously I'm not going to make anybody travel or anything like that, but it may be something like, hey, we're looking at this job here, so how do we make that work? Are you willing to do something like that? Now, we're not talking about Kansas, we're maybe talking about Okoboji or Wayne or Norfolk or Storm Lake, not Kansas. But there's opportunities out there, and if we have to go after them, we want to make sure that we have people that are willing to take on that, you know, that added, what does that look like? And then Sioux Falls, of course. So I opened this up by asking if anybody was taking their journeyman test coming up anytime soon, and I mentioned that we're up in Sioux Falls a lot doing work for Train. We're able to do that right now because it's all low voltage work, which we don't need a license for, but I am going up there on Thursday to take my Sioux Falls contractors test. So because Sioux Falls is weird, they don't just accept the regular South Dakota contractor's license, and I've never gotten a Sioux Falls one yet, and they don't reciprocate, so you got to go take the test. So I'm going up there on Thursday to go take my test so I could use some positive thoughts from y'all. But what I'll be doing all weekend, when I said, you know, I can't go ice fishing with Kyle because I'm going to be studying for this test all weekend, because I haven't taken a contractor's test since like 2008, so might be a little rusty on the code book. My code knowledge it's there, it's just not really up to date, so I could use some help there. What do you think, Drew? You in?
Call Orlando, we just passed his.
What if I just gave you my ID? Is this on, wait, this is on camera, never mind. So, and I know we've got some people that got some, either are up in that area or, you know, have family up in that area. Some people have talked about wanting to get closer to that area. But it's definitely something we're going to start poking and prodding a lot more this year if we have the support to go up and do it. Because it feels like the next natural progression, because it just, more and more stuff keeps happening. I don't know if you ever drive up there, but like every time you drive up there, that town doubles in size, and I kind of want to be part of that. So we're going to be looking into that as well. But in everything we do, we got to stay balanced. What's the best thing we can do for our customer? Integrity. What's the best thing for our team? And what's the best thing for our company? We can't stretch one out of whack from the rest. We've got to try to keep it in balance all the time. So somebody might say, well, it'd be really cool if we bought a company vehicle for all of our employees. And I go, that would be really cool. Show me the way to the unemployment office, because we'll be out of business the next month. You know, it's like, how do you balance that? How do you balance that, what I said of, we want to make sure we're creating that great environment for people to work in, and that environment for customers to want to come to us, and that environment where the company can stay sustainable long term. So what does that look like? So we've got to always look through every decision we make through those three lenses to try to make the best decision for everybody involved. Think of it like a three-legged stool, and if you take one of those legs away from that stool, the stool is going to fall over. So always try to keeping it in balance. We're going to be looking at getting more standardization. Like I said, I've been repeating that over and over again. We want to get some better availability, and I'm not going to get into a lot of detail. Some of you guys know where I'm going with this, of going back to that dedication thing. We got to get better at what I don't want to do, and what I hate doing, and what I hate would happen to me is, it's Friday, and it's about 3:15, 3:30, and I'm getting ready to go home, and my phone rings, and someone says, hey, I need you to work at so-and-so tomorrow. That's not fun. That's not fun. It's not a good feeling. And that's not what I mean by dedication either. What I mean is we should have some sort, they're gone. We should have some sort of a calendar built of some, enjoy your lunch, everybody. I think we're getting close though. You guys are probably done hearing me talk too, so. They're back. I don't know about the camera, but. Oh, the challenges of the 21st century, huh? What happened? That was perfect timing to do an update, huh? Can we get audio for him at least? So I can keep moving? Talk again.
Can you hear me, Greg?
Yeah?
I can hear you.
Okay. Probably no camera though. Which is fine, we just got to keep moving. If they can hear me, then we can keep moving. Okay, I'll let you work on the rest of it. I'll go through this with you on a one-on-one basis tomorrow, Sias at work. Trying to set something up so that we can, again, going by that balanced approach, so that we have some sort of a, we know these people are going to be available if we have a project come up, so we know who to call, who to leave alone, who's got plans, that kind of stuff. So it's not just this random start going down the list. But also not, if a customer says, hey, do you got guys who can come in and work this weekend? I'm not going, well, I don't know, let me call them and find out. We can say, okay, yeah, these are the people that are on for this weekend, and we can go from there. So trying to figure out what that looks like is you know, we're trying to work through all of that, because again, we want to be able to offer the customer what they're asking for, and we got to be able to say we can do it, because if we don't, then they'll try to find somebody else who can, obviously. And then being consistent across the board, you know, we need less gray and more black and white in what we do, so that everybody understands, you know, these are the boundaries, this is where we get to, this is where, this is how we, this is Trinity, this is consistent across the board. There should be, you should feel the same no matter what job you go to, no matter what van you're in, no matter which foreman you're working with, you should have the same basic standards set in place. And bear with me, everybody, bear with me. So
Next slide.
it won't let me slide, yeah, it won't let me change.
Yeah, the mouse has to be on that.
Oh, okay. Mouse has to be on what?
You can hit that now. It should be working for you.
Kind of. Okay, so holidays, PTO, all of that stuff, we're gonna look back in and come up with some better ways of doing that stuff based on a lot of things that have come up. One of them being the Nebraska sick pay thing, which has turned into a big train wreck because now we've got like 6 different PTO policies in place, and we're trying to standardize that. So we'll talk more about that. Talking about doing we'll have a list of approved nonprofits that you guys can, if that's something that is on, you know, that you want to do, then we're going to roll out, like, here's an approved list of nonprofits. If you want to volunteer, we would give you, certain people, we're going to try it on a small scale, and if it works, we'll do it with more people. But like, hey, I want to, Friday, I'm going to go to the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm going to volunteer for the day. And we're going to give you a PTO day for that, to do that specific thing. Obviously, we're going to want some verification that you did it, but that's something we're going to try out and see if that's something that people are interested in doing. So that's something that I think would be a cool thing for us in the community here and in Kansas to try to do. Going to the trust survey, we're going to really get back into how can we get people the roadmap that they need, the training they need, that they want. Looking into executive positions, what are those prerequisites that we're going to be looking for if we're going to be hiring people into, you know, upper management type roles, so that we could offer them the, you know, the college level courses that are out there for people that want to do that kind of thing. So scholarship opportunities, leadership roadmaps, expanding training. We're going to talk more about that through the year. So that's a big thing because of what the answers that I got back from you guys. Trainual. We're almost done, Kim. Trainual is really the key behind all of this. And what Trainual is, it's a software system that we've been working on. Things are going to start moving a little bit better now as we start getting more traction. But what that looks like is more of a structured, standardized, here's how we do things at Trinity for orientation purposes, for training purposes, and there's really no limit to it. So we're just, it hasn't gotten a lot of traction, but we think now it's going to finally get some traction. It's going to start with the employee onboarding, and then we're going to stretch it out from there. So Kim's been working really hard on that, and we're going to continue to move forward on that. So this is it. I'm done. I made it in the time I said I was going to make it. I hope everybody's enjoying their chicken. So we're going to close out by saying nothing's changing. Okay. The only thing that's going to change is a lot of the stuff that's there that maybe hasn't been talked about enough, hasn't been seen enough, hasn't been consistent enough. That's my goal to start changing this year. Same standards, clear structure, consistent enforcement, and keep moving forward. What I will say is, with everything that I told you, everybody here today, there are so many opportunities out there for people that want it. For whatever level that you want to take your career, there are opportunities out there, both up, out, sideways, down, whatever. There's so many different opportunities out there coming up. And we want to make sure that we offer everybody a roadmap, an opportunity. This is what it would take if you wanted to get into that type of role. But there's just so much out there. There's there's prefab, there's the UL, there's there's project management and estimating and specialty systems, and just in the office. I mean, we're going to be hiring there too. It's like there's so many different opportunities, but each and every one of those also, as you guys know, is a different set of skills. So you can't just go, well, the one thing I want to stay really, really far away from is, well, I've been with the company for 20 years, so I deserve this job promotion. It's like, that's not how we're doing things. How we're doing things is who is the best candidate for the job in order to keep us moving forward in the right direction, not necessarily who's been with the company the longest or whatever that might look like. What we want to do is we want to make sure we're equipping the people in the company that want to do certain things with everything that they need to get there and be successful, but we're always going to try to fill these positions as they come open with the best qualified candidates. Does that make sense to everybody? Awesome. That's all I've got. I want to thank everybody again. Sorry for making you listen to me, but this is it. You guys are my friends. So this is my friends group. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to hand it over to AJ. If you guys want to have a quick, finish your food, have a quick break.
I was going to say that we probably got time until noon.
Yeah.
So don't worry about scarfing all your food down, but use the restroom. If you got a choke of smoke quick, get that done. But you can come back and keep eating lunch, because I want to get started by noon. So just have all of the out-of-room stuff done in the next 15 minutes. But you can still come back and keep eating while I'm going. So let's
All right.
take off by noon.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.